Okay, so I'm going to try this again because I keep forgetting to code my words. Because I'm going to be talking about something that is not, standard, where I have to code my words because I was reading that Lisa Murkowski's husband was in the Epstein files. And it just has been burning in my heart all night long, kind of like Pam Bondi. It's the same thing that was like stewing in my brain about this. The fact that a woman, Lisa Murkowski, has stayed married to a man who did business with a known child molester. Wrap your brain around that. While she voted to take away women's rights and not codify Roe v. Wade, she stayed married to a man who did business with a convicted child molester. The only reason that we know about this guy, really why he's in the big papers, is because Cittadini was one of his best friends. And Michael Cohen, who I have lost all respect for when I heard him say that, oh, well, she had a wrong address. And he was the person who literally intimidated one of Cittadini's victims into dropping a lawsuit in 2016 or 17 when he was still Cittadini's advisor. And I heard him justify this on the Midas Touch about, oh, well, she had a fake address and we just didn't know and I never talked to Donald Trump. If he didn't talk to Donald Trump about it, he is a grotesquely incompetent attorney. So there is no way he didn't talk to his client about this. So stop with the lies, Michael Cohen, and stop with the lies, Lisa Murkowski. This is the problem in America. We have a bunch of rich people who are influential in our public lives who are just nothing but liars. And they do nothing but protect men who harm children. It is beyond comprehension. I am just steamed off about this. And you know what, it really does tick me off. It's an emotional issue for me because I genuinely believe that we need to take this out of the closet. Women who were abused need to stop feeling like it's their fault. I'm one of 8 children. My parents had 3 girls, a son, and 3 more girls. So I was one of the bottom 3. I'm number 7. My dad would come home from work every day and molest my sisters. And I didn't think my dad loved me because he never touched me like that. I didn't really realize it wasn't normal until I left my parents' house. And you know what? Nobody talks about it. We're all expected to keep our trap shut. And you know what? Nothing happened to him. He got remarried and he did not dare touch my stepmother's children because her family would have done him in. We wouldn't have found his body because he married a decent woman. I am sick to death of, in our culture, us pretending like trafficking of children, trafficking of women is the women's fault or the child's fault. Because that's what you're doing when you protect a child predator. You're saying, oh, well, if the child hadn't have been in that place, or they should have known better. Their parents should have known. I mean, it is beyond comprehension. Epstein, 12 years old. Wasn't that what we heard? Beyond 12 or 13, they were too old for him. And yet Cittadini was on television. He was able to get himself elected. And the justification is, oh, well, they were too young for me. 13 is his cutoff date. And yet he was still friends with that guy. And we are expected to keep our trap shut about these people. And in fact, this is where we have lost ethics. How many other people are in those files that are of importance? And there are networking. Mike Papantonio wrote a book about trafficking. And in the book, it's a novel, but he said everything is based on what they really learned in his law firm because he protects children from predators. And he wrote this book as a novel to explain what happens. And he said all the hotels, all of the airlines, they know what's going on. They see the cameras coming into the hotels. They know about the pornography. They know about those things. with the children, with the young girls. They see them being trotted in, and nobody says anything because it is a I think it was a 82 billion, 83 billion dollar industry per year. So Epstein was not the only one. But to me, the really burning thing is that we victimize the victims by forcing them to stay silent. Nobody can talk about it. Can you tell I'm worked up? This just makes me so angry. We need to stop. The only way we're going to make these monsters stop is to say out loud, that guy is a predator. Force them into being shamed instead of protecting them. Lisa Murkowski protected Epstein. She voted to keep the Epstein files secret. She's protecting Cittadini. She's protecting her husband. How many other Republicans is she protecting? How many Democrats is she protecting? How many billionaires is she protecting? How many multimillionaires? Because Epstein didn't mess around with poor people. He leaves those trafficking networks to the poor. There's tons of levels of networking trafficking lines. But it is beyond comprehension that we live in a culture where women will vote to protect child predators because they want to protect their husband's interests who are doing business with those child predators. I mean, I am just so angry on this issue. Personally, I think the way to take the trafficking thing out of it is make prostitution legal. So there is no trafficking. Allow women to run their own lives. We'd have a lot more control over the child. It could end that type of child trafficking. If we legalized it, then it's just, and that is the hypocrisy. You know who gets arrested? It's the women. The men don't. They get a slap on the wrist if they get arrested at all. But the women go to jail for long times. It's beyond comprehension. When in this country are we going to start honoring women? In my opinion, Lisa Murkowski owes the American women an apology. I mean, 100%. And Susan Collins for voting against the Roe v. Wade thing and for protecting the predators that are probably sitting in Congress or their family members. Because these are all rich people. They're the ones that are in the Epstein files. I am just so angry about this. I am super angry at Lisa Murkowski. You know, she sat, but what was it, a year ago? She sat around going, oh, we're all afraid. It makes me wonder if Lisa Murkowski is not an abused woman. If her husband doesn't, use force against her. I mean, she did sit there and say, well, we're all afraid. We're all afraid to expose Cittadini. We're all afraid to talk out against him. Is that why she clicked her heels and Sieg Heil? Because she's a coward? She has no courage. She has no ethics, no honor, no integrity. She stayed married to a man who does business with a known child predator. In fact, that brings up another whole topic. Who were all the people that did business with the known child predator since 2006? How many other people were complicit in his billionaire status? This is outrageous. It is beyond comprehension. And to be honest, I just cannot forgive Michael Cohen for lying to the public that he didn't know. What a liar. And now he poses himself as some, advocate for freedom and our democracy when he spent his time protecting Cittadini and he never owned up to it. Cittadini even made a crude remark about Michael Cohen's own daughter, so he knew he was a molester. It's beyond comprehension that we even allow these types of hypocrites to continue the public life without apologies. I mean, I'm about forgiveness. If they would just own up to it and say, you know what, we made some decisions that weren't correct at the time, and we're sorry. We should not have done that, but now we're going to correct the course. We need to do better in this country, and we need people to be ethical and honorable and own what they do instead of hiding from it. It's beyond comprehension.